Hello everyone, this is Lunch here, and I want to talk about the meta update from the devs today. We got some messaging from them about a week ago, talking about how they were going to talk about this with cards, possible meta changes, things, possible bannings. People have been talking about Force Throw for a while. My opinion is that it personally doesn't need to be banned, but there's a lot of people that disagree with me. I haven't looked at this yet. This is going to be my first impression. I just kind of want to go through with it, you guys, and kind of see where they're coming from. So we have Hello Star Wars Limited Player, game developer Ryan Miles here with Metagame Update. As usual, we'll cut to the chase first. There are no changes to suspended card lists with this update. Alright, so I like this. I don't think anything in the format is so broken that it needs to be banned right now, preemptively before the set. I think that's a step that we really should try not to take when at all possible. It has to be something like completely crazy for that to be the case. And I don't think Force Throw is there. I wrote a video, I think it went out yesterday, about my opinions on Force Throw and how I think it's actually weaker in the next coming set than it was in the previous set. I am kind of glad they didn't cave to popular opinion. They definitely insta-ban Triple Dark and Jango Fett and DJ really fast, which is fine, but it's also was a little worrying at the time because it's like, do they do jump to ban every time everyone wants something banned? Because that's not always healthy in a game either. Let's see what he has to say about it. Jump to Lightspeed had a rocky start, leading to suspension of TDR, Jango Fett, and DJ. Since those suspensions, Star Wars Limited has boasted the healthiest meta since the game's release, with extremely diverse top cut in our planetary, secondary, and regional qualifiers. I will agree with that. The meta is in a pretty good spot right now. There's a couple decks that I don't like the pay patterns of, but in terms of overall meta, it's at a very healthy place. While Sabine Wren looked like an early favorite after the suspensions, an absolute smorgasbord of leaders have feasted as the dust has settled. Kira looks poised to end the season at the top, having the highest top 8 rep, which is true. Kira has been on top. And taking down the final regional qualifier, however, the margin of Kira's success is significantly lower than any other best deck we've seen, winning only 12% of competitive events. Data Vault appears as the only overall outline representations, with Legends of the Force introducing more tension in base selection, with Force token bases as well as strong support for leaders, technically up into Tarkin Town and Energy Conversion Lab. We strongly expect Data Vault to lose some meta share without suspension. The context of Jump to Lightspeed appearance format extremely healthy. No further suspensions are being considered. Oh, that's interesting. So they're not even considering Force Throw at all. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. I think there should still be an eye on cards. Also, I don't know if I completely agree with their argument on Data Vault. Data Vault, the difference between a Data Vault and a 30 health base is pretty small, but between 28 and 33 is a really big deal. If we see an increase in hyper aggro, like things like Sabine, I do think people will be drawn more to Data Vault and away from the Force strategies in general. That being said, I don't think Sabine's going to be overly popular after this comes through. We get a lot of new healing and new draw power and stuff in this new set. And the incidental heals matters a lot to Sabine. Sabine wins a lot of games by 3 or less health. They just barely kill you usually. It's usually not a blowout. So I think that Data Vault might lose some play even more from that than anything else. Also, since there's some more powerful cards, lowering your deck 10 cards to hit those powerful cards more often is actually really important. Also, a lot of the green decks that are dark side are going to move to ECL for the new Vader card. So I honestly think that it's probably in a fine spot. I don't think they need to even look at Data Vault super a lot. Alright, a little bit left. That said, Legends of the Force introducing powerful new pieces to the game. There are plenty of older tools we expect to perform better than they ever have. Those were not originally designed for environment as force heavy as Legends of the Force, the same way Triple Dark Raid was not designed for environment as vehicle heavy as Jump to Lightspeed. However, with the heavy impact that suspensions have the game and players' collections, we aim to only utilize them when we have data-driven results to guide us and give us the highest confidence these decisions are the correct ones. For example, we had to preemptively suspend Triple Dark Raid. We would have likely missed out on the Jango Fett leader and needed multiple suspensions announcements to bring the game to where we are now. Wait, so for example, we had preemptively had we preemptively suspended Triple Dark Raid. Okay, so they're saying that if they had pre-banned Triple Dark Raid, then Django would have been around for a lot longer. I mean, Django wouldn't have been much of a problem. I don't know if I like that argument so much. One thing I do want to point out that some people know, some people don't, is the first 3 sets were all designed before the game came out. So until set 4, they can't use the knowledge they've gained in like designing the sets from actually having the sets out and like in people's hands. So that's a pretty big reason why I think set 4, and I think we're in set 5 now, right? Legends is set 5? 5 or 6, whatever it is. They've been a lot better and a lot more balanced in terms of like set 1 had like a lot of powerful cards, and then set 2 and 3 kind of didn't so much. And I think that's why we're getting a decent amount of power creep too, is they've kind of seen where they want it to be power-wise. So I think that's almost a much bigger thing about, like, I talk about card interactions in Triple Dark Raid not being designed with a vehicle-heavy, like, play in mind, things like that. We recognize Legend of the Force will be on full display at our most prestigious event, Galactic Championship. The Jango Fett leader quickly showed dominance in the early days of Jump to Lightspeed, but the meta was still rewarded players who optimized their Django decks and the Bosk player who exploited Django's weaknesses to take down the Liverpool sectional qualifier. While Triple Dark Raid was the sole vehicle outlier, the Force Raid has many more options and avenues to explore and push their extremes. We will use the data and results from Galactic Championship to guide us in the future, but we also believe that taking action too early would detract from the competition rather than enhance it. As we evaluate current suspended lists, we determine none of the cards are currently viable candidates to be reduced onto the Premier at this time. Fair. We will continue to monitor each suspended card and Legend Force plays out the active intention of bringing back any card whose power level makes more sense in the context of the new meta. I mean, I like this. This is all good. I like that they went through their explanations. I wish they had mentioned Force Throw by name, just because people were expecting, like, Force Throw. So I kind of wish they had specifically stated, hey, we looked at Force Throw, but they didn't. They just said, like, things that have Force trait. That being said, I like that they didn't suspend anything. I don't think anything currently needs to be hit. We'll see after Galactic Championship, because obviously maybe there's some random interaction that nobody sees. That does happen sometimes. The big one for that is like DJ. DJ and Han were out for a really long time before anyone ever played them in a competitive fashion. And that's just because people just didn't think DJ would be good enough and didn't think the tech interaction with it was strong enough. Turns out it was. And so I think, honestly, I like it. I like that they didn't suspend anything. I like that they've stated that even though they banned Django and TDR pretty quick, that's not going to be the norm, which I like. Because sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to emergency ban stuff. But you don't want to always be emergency banning whenever people complain either. That they need to have some sort of backbone about it as well. Because metas need time to develop and play patterns need to be like figured out how to overcome and stuff. There's a lot of tools in this game to kind of figure out formats. So yeah, I'm excited, super excited for Galactic Championships. I'm curious if you guys agree with this or not. Should Force Throw have been banned? There's a couple other cards I think that are kind of over curve on power too, but nothing that needs to be banned. Let me point out. If you disagree with me, leave it in the comments. Let me know. Otherwise, have a nice afternoon.